Hey, Dr. Todd here with my trusty spine, and I want to address one of the most common complaints and one of the most common reasons that people go to the emergency room, and that has to do with neck pain. It is one of the most misunderstood types of pain and often treated with a barrage of medical involvement with trigger points injections and over-the-counter meds, and it is one of the most common reasons people go to the emergency room. But short of that, there's nothing really that medicine can do for a structural problem. And this is one of the missing links that we have in healthcare that people don't know. Oftentimes people jump into the more invasive procedures and medicines to try to seek some relief without addressing the problem where conservative care like chiropractic care does. Let me explain. What happens nowadays is that we often have outside forces working on this area of our spine, okay? And the outside forces can be something like a micro trauma where you're sitting with forward head posture all day, where your head's going forward. It could be instantaneous traumas, like we talk about sports injuries or a car crash that can actually change the structure of the neck. The problem is, if that never gets addressed, okay, and if that structural challenge is there in a neck, what happens is that the musculature in the back will tighten up quite significantly. And people report this all the time. It's just like, gosh, I carry all the tension in my neck. I just feel like there's just so much pressure there. And nobody ever looks at the structure, never ever just addresses the problem behind this. Now, I'll get this quite often that people will talk about the fact that, hey, I think it's just a muscular problem. I'm like, yes, it is, but that's one component of it. These vital nerves that leave each and every one of these segments will have to do with muscular contractions. Okay, when a muscle gets stretched too much, those nerves send out a signal to contract that muscle to protect it from actually stretching too far. We know in physics that for every inch that the head goes forward, there's almost a 10-fold increase on the musculature. That's why your head feels heavy, because the leverage, the mechanics here are not working properly. So unless somebody was actually taking a minute to structurally evaluate this, you may not even know that this is a problem until, like I said, we get people in here that are complaining about neck pain and headaches that have gotten so bad, they've tried so many different things, and we look on digital x-ray, take an x-ray and measure this, the greatest science out there. Measure the spine, published in peer-reviewed literature like Spine, top orthopedic journal in the world, has a normal for the spine to be in. And if your spine is in an abnormal position, what happens is that tension develops. It causes all sorts of neck pain, headaches. And one other key factor, you see these little red guys that go through here? That's a vertebral artery. But there's a ton of arteries, spinal cord arteries and everything. Blood flow gets restricted because of the tension on this. Blood flow to the brain goes down. This is why people talk about, I'm hazy all the time. I have this brain fog. I can't think straight. Well, the blood flow, they've shown this on science that the blood flow actually decreases in this position. Simple solution: specific chiropractic care and specific exercises of traction can actually restore the natural curve that should be in the neck to get it back to a position where the spinal cord relaxes, the blood flow increases because the lumen of these vertebral arteries start to open back up. They're not as tension. The muscles mechanically can work better, and we see some phenomenal, it's not only just pain relief, but a longevity of that pain relief by fixing the problem, which is this epidemic of looking at your phone, looking at a computer. Kids are not immune to this. They're seeing it more, born with iPhones and iPads in their hands, in computer work, giving a Chromebook at school. They're in this position way too much. You're in this position way too much. You need to look at it so it can be addressed. The real root cause of neck pain associated with this structural deviation. Check it out today.